the right and ambitious goals, that's great. But all too often, companies just set a goal and publish a goal that they know they're going to hit anyway, based on efficiency initiatives and so forth. So none of these things tell us enough about where a company is and where it's going. How much is a company actually living up to its stated purpose? So what we need is to define the required break-even state for business. What do I mean by that? Well, if we think of the triple bottom line, which we've probably all heard of, that companies need to pay attention to the financial, environmental, and social performance, the only bottom line we've actually ever defined is the financial one. We know that the minimum a company needs to do in the long term is break even, is make as much money as it spends. Your investors aren't going to tolerate you for long if you make a loss. What we're doing with sustainability right now is nuts. It's like the financial equivalent of a company saying, we're fantastic. We lost $100 million last year, but everybody else lost $105 million. We're great. That's not good enough. When it comes to environmental and social performance, we need to understand what the break-even point is, so we can understand which companies are actually helping our transition to a sustainable future rather than hindering it. That's what the Future Fit Business Benchmark is all about. Solly from Futera gave us a fantastic framework to think about this yesterday, about purpose. And on one side you've got logic, and on the other you've got magic. Logic is around the vision and the maps. Where is it you're going, and where are you now? How can you chart a course to get there? And then the stories and the symbols on the magic side are how do you engage people around that? And the Future Fit Business Benchmark is all around that logic side. It's the vision and the map. Where are you now and where are you going? And it starts with a definition. Simple definition. That a future fit business is one that creates value while in no way undermining and ideally increasing the possibility that humans and other life will flourish on Earth forever. So this is not about utopia. This is just about understanding this break-even point that every company needs to reach, no matter what its size, no matter what its sector. The question, of course, is how would we know when a company is future fit? And how can we tell how far away a business is from reaching that destination? So that's what the Future Fit Business Benchmark is all about. It measures progress towards a desired future state, rather than relative to where everyone is today. It's grounded in science. You can only define what this future break-even point looks like if you understand the system conditions within which society will need to operate for it to be sustainable. It's designed to be as simple as possible to use, including being understandable by the average CEO. There's a lot of science behind it, but that doesn't mean you have to use scientific language to explain it. And it's completely free to use. So we're a non-profit. We're building this with a lot of help from other organisations as a public good. Anyone is free to download and use today. I'm going to talk very briefly about how we built this. So the starting point is thinking of the Earth as a system. We didn't have to do this hard work because a group of scientists about 28 years ago started this process, led by a cancer surgeon in Sweden. So this guy, Karl-Henrik Robert, lovely man, he's very supportive of what we're doing with the benchmark, was a cancer surgeon, and patients used to come to him and say, you know, I've got this symptom, I've got this headache or whatever. And of course, he didn't just look at the area of the symptom to diagnose the problem. He looked at the body as a system. And as he learned more about the environmental movement, he realized we weren't treating the Earth as a system to understand our impact on the planet and society. So he got a group of scientists together to define and build this framework for strategic sustainable development, which starts with 4 system conditions. There's actually 8, but the social one is kind of 5 sub-conditions. And there they are. Now, we won't dwell on this, given that I've only got 4 minutes left. But the idea here is that these are the kind of boundary conditions within which society would need to operate to ensure the possibility that humans and other life can flourish on Earth forever. Now they're quite academic, and they're quite high level. Put that in front of your average CEO, and they're not really going to understand, well, what does that mean to me? So what we did is we started those system conditions, and we thought, well, how would a typical company need to operate to ensure it adheres to those conditions? Well, you might say there is no such thing as a typical company. Every company is different, and of course it is. But there are some things you can say about every company that are true. So every company has employees, has customers, produces some kind of goods or services which it sells to those customers. Every company relies on some level of physical resource, even if it's only energy and water. Every company has suppliers and so on. So what we did is we started with the system conditions from those scientists that they've been developing over the last 28 years. We mapped them onto all the global challenges we face today to see how, if we're living within the system conditions, we start to solve these problems rather than make them worse. We translated the system conditions forward into business principles. These system conditions are for society as a whole, but what do they mean to an individual company? So we translated into business principles. But then from there, we translated those into future fit goals. So we've defined the social and environmental break-even point for business in terms of 2021 future fit goals that every company ultimately needs to reach. Finally, we created a set of key fitness indicators which measure progress toward each of those goals. So companies can actually understand how far away they are from where they need to be and measure progress towards it. The final step, which we're working on an ongoing basis, is we're helping companies understand how the pursuit of future fitness helps them with all the other initiatives out there. There's so much guidance that companies are expected to understand and deal with. So for example, the SDGs. We heard about a little bit yesterday. If you pursue future fitness, we've got very clear mapping to show you how this enables you as a business to contribute to the SDGs and make sure you're not undermining. Likewise, the circular economy, which we're going to hear about in a little while. If you pursue the future fit goals, you will become aligned with the circular economy. So very briefly, the key point with this is a tool for companies themselves to use. This is not a rating where you have to fill in questionnaires and you get back a magic score. This is designed for you to use yourselves as a management tool to measure your progress. If you do want to publish your future fit scores, we're working with some of the world's biggest auditing companies to develop an assurance process so they can go in and check what you've done so that you can then publish your scores, just as you do with your financial accounts today. Release 1 came out in May after 2.5 years of public consultation, public drafts with experts, and that measures progress toward this break-even point, this kind of do no harm state. Here's a few examples of our future fit goals. Release 2, which we're working on now, is planned for Q1 of next year. And this extends things beyond the break-even point. Because we need to ensure a sustainable future, every business in the world needs to become future fit. But of course, just reaching break-even isn't the full story. A lot of companies have a big positive impact in certain areas, healthcare companies and so on. We've heard from some great examples here yesterday about this. So the benchmark will also measure all the ways a company can create system value, increasing the future fitness of others within the system. I've got a red light here, so I need to really wrap up. One of the first companies that's embraced this with an ambition to become the most socially and environmentally responsible company in the world is The Body Shop. You can download their latest sustainability report and find their core commitments and how they align back to the future fit goals. Summarising, the benchmark is designed to empower business leaders to plan for the long term, to think beyond current best practice and incrementally shuffling forward from the unsustainable status quo and start thinking about this destination, this North Star, to guide them. It also inspires and rewards true leadership. So by measuring the true gap between where companies are and where they need to be, we do start to see the true leaders emerge. Also helps companies align with all this guidance out there around the SDGs and other initiatives. And because we have these indicators to help measure the gap between where you are now and where you need to be, it gives you actionable insight on how to prioritise your actions to become future fit. Finally, it puts purpose in context. You could have a fantastic statement of purpose. And as Solly said yesterday, there are a lot of great purpose statements out there that actually people aren't really living up to. You've got to pursue this purpose. You can put your purpose in context by understanding how what you're trying to do in the world delivers value while in no way undermining the transition to a sustainable future, and ideally helping it. Final thought. This is our definition of a future-fit business. Think about, just as a thought exercise, think about what's the purpose of your business, and what would it mean for you to insert that purpose here, and also think, but ensuring that you're doing nothing to undermine the possibility of life flourishes on Earth forever. You can go and download the benchmark now from futurefitbusiness.org. Please get in touch with me if you want to talk about this further.